Whatever your skill or experience level is as an angler, you deserve a fishing reel that contributes to your success and satisfaction on the water and never detracts from it. From the makers of St. Croix rods, Seviin Reels, spelled Seviin, is born of 7 decades of design and manufacturing expertise, industry-leading angler support, and the American family ownership dating back to 1977. Seviin Reels are designed and crafted for high performance and unrelenting reliability. Verified at least 16 different ways by extreme torture testing at Seviin's one-of-a-kind Park Falls, Wisconsin laboratory. Seviin Reels are also proven on the water by the most demanding professional guides and tournament anglers. So by the time a Seviin reaches your hands, it's ready for anything you throw at it. Guaranteed by the best and easiest warranty in the industry. Disappointment happens, but there should never come as a result of your reel. Seviin Reels are tested, proven, and guaranteed to be the most reliable on the planet. Check out the entire lineup at seviinreels.com. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits. Today, we're talking to Skeeter, Yamaha, Berkley, Humminbird. I probably missed 10 other sponsors of Mr. Mark Courts over here. How's it going, Mark? How's the fishing in your neck of the woods?
It's good. I've actually been fishing quite a bit, and I've been traveling, so it's been good. I was on Lake Okoboji last week, and that was really good. Kind of fun to get down there, down to the plant and Spirit Lake, and hang out with the guys. We had the Shields guys down there. Had a bunch of cool things, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And then the week before that, I was up on Mille Lacs, and the fishing's it's good. It's tough, but it's tough for a good reason, that there's a lot of bait in the system. But the fish are really super healthy. There's a lot of fish in the system. The perch are giant. Yeah, no, the system's looking really good. Smallmouth bass are good. The walleyes are good. So yeah, Mille Lacs is actually coming back really, really well.
Yeah, I heard it was fishing a little tough, but like you said, just because they have so much to eat, but the fish are everywhere, and they're big and they're healthy. So
yeah, I mean, and the water's super clear, so they're super spooky. So you got to make long casts to them. But no, all in all, it's good. And then the week before that, I was out in South Dakota, up in that northeast South Dakota, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, just been traveling. It's been good. Been a busy June.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've been busy guiding, and it's just fishing's been pretty good most everywhere. Now we're getting some funky weather mixing in and plenty of rain. Well needed, probably. I think you guys are getting some good rain over there as well. But you've been on the road. Let's touch on this stuff since we went there. You had the Shields guys at the Berkley factory or the Pier Fishing plant the other day. I think you were out probably doing some of the Humminbird Pro stuff. It's just, let's touch on that. I don't think a lot of people probably know what goes on. They see Mark Courts fishing. They see him in the boat. They see him going to tournaments. They don't understand how much work not just leads up to the tournament as practice, but off season or the weekends.
It's honestly, it's nonstop for me. I'm lucky enough to have some great sponsors that I work with, and they rely on me a lot. So it's just a lot of traveling. We were releasing some new baits to media in South Dakota there. That Pier Fishing's coming out with. We got 4 new baits coming out here. I think we're able to talk about them. We've got a new casting bait, the Ripfish. It's a kind of unique bait. It's kind of a combination of a rattle bait and a glide bait. So that bait's been really, really good. We've got a couple new sizes in the finisher coming out. We've got the Roller jig, which is super exciting. That's a casting jig with a turning hook. So it's a great way to deliver like 4-inch gulp. We had great success on that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We got the Shallow Money Badger, which I fished down in La Crosse quite a bit. And
that thing's money.
Yeah, no, that thing is really good.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited about that for a lot of different, purposes, cast and shallow. Up in timber, it's got a good bill on it that deflects really well.
Yep.
And it fishes just really nice. So 5 sizes in that. And yeah, things are good. It's just, it's that time of year where, the weather finally got right here. And now all of a sudden we're back in sweatshirts today. But yeah, we've got plenty of rain. The lakes are looking really good. I think it took a little bit to get to that summer pattern for these fish. Even when I was on Mille Lacs a couple of weeks ago, we were still catching fish in 6 to 10 foot of water. You could go find some fish out in the deeper water, but a lot of those fish were up shallow. And then we did the Shields training, and now we're back. I'm actually home for a week, and then we're on the road and off to the next NWT in Michigan.
Yeah, the Shields training, that store. We've done it at St. Croix. I wasn't there, but same deal. A bunch of them came in, took the factory tour, and they were just like, that's it. They unloaded a lot of their other rods and went, we're going to run these now, and I'm sure they're, Shields, you've been to them, the Shields Fishing University out here at Chamberlain at Cedar Shores, and in April, I'm not aware of any other box store doing anything like that. I mean, these guys are in our boats, hands-on, educated.
They do 52 universities across all the platforms, whether we talk about hiking and camping and footwear and cooking and all those things. So, I actually had a guy up from Florida, and I said, you got to stop into the Shield store in Eden Prairie. And I said, you're just going to be amazed on how nice those stores are and how many times you get asked, do you have any questions, or you need us to find anything? Are you looking for something specific? And that's a unique thing about Shields. It's employee owned, and they're just a great, great company. And that, as a customer going in there, you actually feel like they know what they're talking about, because they do, because they take so much time to train their associates. They
do. They invest in their people. And I have a lot of friends that have worked there, and they've been there for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Once they started, none of them ever left, and it's an ESOP. So it's employee owned. Their stock's doing well. And they told me 20 years ago they're getting paid, but I'm like, but he's like, but I get a commission on this, or this. Now they're in management. So he's like, now I get the entire floor, or just hunting or archery or fishing. And, they moved up. So I'm like, oh, well, you're doing pretty well. A couple of them met their wives there and what have you. It's just, and they ain't going nowhere. And theoretically, I think they're almost 50 and they could retire, but they're not gonna. They love it.
And they're expanding. I mean, they're expanding stores every year. So it's a super, super fun. And the people are passionate about the sport. So that's the fun part about it, being with those people that actually understand and know what they're talking about and, get what you're trying to relate to them.
Yeah. If you fish a walleye or bass tournament here in South Dakota, you're going to see those guys because they're in the tournament. They're fishing it. So I was in there yesterday actually getting a couple things. And he's like, oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. And then they're just chit-chatting about some other things. And I'm like, all right, they know what they're talking about. If you ask them and they ask, sometimes you get people are like bothered by people asking them for help, but trust me, if you are looking for something or you're on the fence, just ask, any one of those sales staff guys. They know what they're talking about and they're going to show you. Mark and I have both been to the Shields U, and I've taken them out and put the St. Croix and the rods and the 7 reels in their hands. You've had them in your boat going through the bird stuff, and they're using all the Berkeley baits. I mean, and they do that, they're smart they do it regional. And then they have like the walleye guys, obviously we're going to come to the upper Midwest stuff. They do that down in Texas, and it's all, bass centric type things. And some of the bass pros go down there. It's just so smart. It's a big investment, big cost, obviously, for Shields to do it, but I mean, it's paying dividends. So,
yeah. And I don't know how long I've been doing it. Honestly, I can't even look back. I mean, I'm guessing it's pushing 18 to 20 years that I've been doing Shields universities out there in Chamberlain. So, yeah, I mean, they've been doing it a long time. And like you said, it's definitely paid dividends, and they continue to grow it.
They have since I'm, always there for the month and guiding, and then the following week, they've had the camping university there. Mm-hmm. And they're out there in their guilty. They're out. They take them out past kind of where the boat ramp is and that field. And it doesn't matter what the weather is, which is good if it's pretty good chance it's going to be cold anyway. But they're sleeping in it overnight because I'm going out in the morning. I can see them all crawling out of their tents, running to the resort to go to the bathroom or whatever. But I'm like, I guess you tested the gear in that 30, or 28 degree night.
And that's it. That's exactly what they want to do. I mean, whether it's on the water, shooting, hiking, camping, they want them to know what the product actually is and what it does.
And so you had them down there at the Pier Fishing Plant. I'm sure Spangler was there. You guys are playing with all the new baits. I imagine here in a couple weeks we're going to get to see all these at ICAST.
Yeah, actually, Shields or Pier Fishing is not going to ICAST.
Oh, I did. That's right. I did read that.
They chose not to go to ICAST, but yeah, you're going to see them. We had a bunch of writers out in South Dakota there, and so you're going to see a lot of articles coming out on them, and we'll obviously all release them here in the coming weeks. So I'm sure you'll see a bunch of them in Michigan too.
That's their big media blitz, I'm sure, that same week as ICAST, instead of spending literally the hundreds of thousands of dollars for their booth
Correct.
and investment in time. We're
Yeah.
just going to go ahead and do a digital thing because really those guys that big, I know like the Shields guys stay an extra day or two, to get the buyers to actually go have their good buyers meetings, because it's kind
And
of
that's
turned
the
into
one thing,
a media show.
we've all talked about it now is that the industry's changed. All these buyers have seen the products long before ICAST, and ICAST just kind of turned into a handshake, meet and greet, which it's still fun. I mean, it's still, you meet a lot of people, you get to see a lot of people that you only see once a year.
Yep.
So it is well worth somebody's time to go to ICAST, but it's just one of those things that it is a huge cost investment. And a lot of these companies already figure they got that stuff done and they can do other things, like outdoor media events where you're going to get a lot more press out of it than you can standing in a convention hall just talking about it. Now you can actually fish a bait and get a fish caught on camera and get it in the writer's hands so they understand what they're talking about too.
Yeah, I haven't been there for a couple of years, but I'm going to go this year. I'm sure, like you, it's part of our contracts and some of these things to attend, whether it's the Classic or ICAST or a major sports show. And we don't have a whole lot here in Sioux Falls except for the Ice Institute. So, but it's just a great time to reconnect with those people, get FaceTime, spend some time in that booth, see what's upcoming. Not everybody is ahead of the game. I think Croy is usually 2 or 3 years ahead of the game, but it's a one-stop shop. Get in, get a whole bunch of media stuff done, get the cuts, and then just this business is all about relationships. And when you get those dinners and after hours, cocktail parties, whatever it is, it's
for sure.
If you're up and Cumberland angler, I invested in this. You invest in yourself, it'll go a long ways. Get the credentials, get in. It's not the great time. I've told it to a bunch of people to be running around handing out your card, trying to ask for free stuff or this or that. But just start meeting those people and put a little FaceTime in, and then follow that up a year and another year, and then a few years down the road, they're going to finally remember who you are, and then you'll have your place to make your ask outside of there. They get a few years ago, it got kind of bad. I was at the high school bass, and it was loaded with people. I'm like, man, these guys are getting pounded, for whatever. Yeah, it's a tough gig. They got to get a little frustrated with it, but I mean, most of them are so good. They're trying to be as friendly and helpful as possible and handing out stuff. But
and they've got a lot of other people in the booths, to run that traffic. But it's really good. The Classic is really good. Difference between Classic and there is you got to actually retail customers at the Classic, and that's one of the things that's still a great show. There's a lot of specials and deals and stuff like that at the Classic, but it's still, there's a lot of consumers that are coming from around the country just to witness a Bassmaster Classic, number one, but then to look at all the new products. And a lot of companies are choosing to release new products there at the Classic too.
Yeah, I think that timing's great, right? March, spring. And like you said, you can get some hellacious deals at the Classic, man. They're giving some deals, and it's cheaper to sell that stuff than to ship it back for the most part.
There are times to be in Orlando than,
than July.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is always a hot, sweaty kind of a mess, but in and out in a couple days, but still a good time. Hey folks, Brian Short here with Clean Cut Cutting Boards. This thing is awesome. I always carry one along with me in the truck for days like today where I find myself just getting off the water. We got a couple, nice walleyes that we kept to eat for tonight. And the fish cleaning station is broke down, or a lot of times early spring and in the fall they're closed, right? A lot of places people don't have fish cleaning stations, or whether you're somewhere really remote, you're back at your cabin or your camper, you find yourself after a good day of fishing, you got some fish to clean, and you don't have anywhere to do it. I always have this Clean Cut in the back of my truck, ready to go anywhere. That's what's awesome about them. They come in 2 different sizes, a variety of colors to meet your needs. These things are just all-purpose and on the go. You can flip this thing over, and if you're having a big gathering or something, it's basically got a big bowl on the back to put your pulled pork in it. You can make a vegetable tray, whatever it may be. It is more than just a cutting station. It is a very, very versatile, durable unit made by Rufflin Kennels. So check them out over at rufflinkennels.com for the Clean Cut Cutting Station. Try it out. I guarantee you're going to love it like I do.
Yep.
You've been doing this a long time, not to age you, Mark, but you've been on all sorts of. I mean, this started what? RCL, PWT. I don't even remember which one came first.
NAWA.
Yeah, I don't see.
back in 1998. Nava was a Cabela's Run circuit, and that lasted 2 years. And then I went on to the PWT and FLW, RCL, FLW. After that, and actually fished both circuits at the same time. And so a lot of traveling, but it was all good. And then when that went away, I've been fishing the NWT ever since. So yeah, this is year 27 for me, between bass and walleye. I fished the Champions Tour when the seasons actually align, and I can do that. This year they were a little off, but yeah, all in all, I can't complain. It's been a good career, and I'm going to keep rolling as long as I can here.
You got a handful of wins. You got at least one AOI title in the NW, right?
Yep, AOI title, a championship win in the PWT, and I don't know, three wins, I think. Yeah,
they don't come easy, man. So
no,
I mean, if you get one or two underneath the belt, it is good. That's the start of a long career, which you have had a very long and illustrious and successful career.
I don't regret what I do. I mean, I love my job. I love the travel aspect of it. I get to meet a lot of cool people, and yeah, you know, I mean, between that and when I had my charter boat, it's just a lot of fun just to teach people about the sport of fishing and get people outdoors, you know. And before I did that, I managed a hunt club in Wisconsin. I lived on the King Ranch, trained dogs down there. I lived up in Canada and trained dogs up there. So yeah, it's either been hunting or fishing for me, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, I get that. All, you know, as a guy to hear, you're living a dream, and I'm like, yeah, you know, you're doing what you love and you're passionate about. But I also tell them I'm not retiring anytime soon. You know, and we just had Chad on here, the same thing. I'm like, this is the retirement plan. I'm like, we ain't getting rich, but boy, we're sure having a hell of a fun time doing it. So,
and I actually go out and work for Chad in the fall, guiding out there. So yeah, no, I mean, I've just met some great people and have some great relationships, and it's been a lot of fun just to continue, you know, whether it's hunting and fishing. I mean, the fall is related around fishing a lot of times with either sponsors or friends from fishing. So it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah, when you can come out to South Dakota and shoot a few roosters and go catch a few walleyes, it's a pretty good day.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't get a walleye fish when I'm out there. I've had the opportunities, and we're just always busy, you know, shooting birds and cleaning birds. And so, yeah, no, it's, I'm going to get out there though this summer. Aafco's doing a big deal out there at Lake Oahe. They're doing that big shootout out of ICAST. So we're looking forward to getting out there, and the fishing's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Bo Schilling actually was just texting Bo here just a second ago. They had a great day on the river. Fishing looks like it's really good. They're catching a lot of fish. So yeah, no, the Missouri River, I mean, honestly, all the systems that we've fished this year have been healthy. I mean, I think lacrosse, I think that blew a lot of people's minds away, that how many fish were in that system. And from little fish to big fish, you know. Obviously, there was a lot of differences there with whether you locked up or locked down, and slot limits and things like that kind of make it miserable. But all in all, it was a fishery that I had never been to, minus bass fishing. And I was there.
Well, there's a lot of bass.
Yeah, there's tons of bass and good ones, but just a lot of walleyes. I mean, you know, I made the decision to go up both days and had short days both days due to locks issues and things like that. But all in all, it was, I enjoyed it down there.
Yeah, anytime at Mississippi River, it never disappoints.
No.
And it throws you curveballs, and it always surprises you with the, you know, how big of bags. And I went down into 9 just because I had so much more confidence, and that place has a lot of big fish, but really didn't get those bigger fish and 8 until the second day of the tournament, when I was like, there's no reason to go to 9 because I blew it. So let me stay here. And all of a sudden you're catching 24, 22. I'm like, well, what? Where the hell are these at practice? Yeah. But I didn't give these spots, you know, enough time. So,
well, I think a lot of it had to do with, I mean, there was some stuff going on there where the water was dumping out of those back areas. And so those fish were funneling down in the river, and they got there, you know, those last couple of days of practice. Those better fish, I mean, 7 was just stupid because there wasn't a lot of people up there, and there was a lot of big fish up there also. So, you know, when I ran up there day 1, we got to the locks. The lock was closed. It took a little bit to get it open. We got up there and it got about 2.5, 3 hours of fishing, but I caught my 2 overs real quick and caught a couple slots, and then came back down and filled out my limit. So day 2, I was looking forward to it. And then we got up there and there was a barge and took a little bit. And I missed the first bar lock up. And then I got the second one and got up there and caught one over pretty quick. And then barge was coming down and that lockmaster just didn't have time for us. And so I knew I had to get down and came back down.
Yeah, that whole block thing sucks. 9 was pretty good. A lot of those weren't making it through 8. And we had one. Day 1 I had to wait, so stopped at a spot and caught a small one, threw it back, which ended up being a great spot. Minky and Heiser got some big ones off there. So I fished it on the second day. And, you can only keep over 27s and 9, and I had a 25 and I almost a 26, but Lance Snyder was down with me and he got his 29. And, you're like, oh, it's a great fish if I was in the other pool, but that's the gamble you take. And if you come home with 2 overs out of 9, you're sitting pretty good. In pretty good shape.
No doubt. I mean, you were going to be just fine.
Right.
2 overs.
Yep. And then it had a really great underbite real fast, but for whatever reason, that didn't seem to work out very well. And I just gave it one pass. It was actually a trolling pass. But Dave did fix it the second day when he went down there because he couldn't get the big fish to go. But those other fish, when he's like, oh, that spot, your program, he's like, that was crazy. He's like, that was so fun. I wish I had more time to, just didn't keep slowly upgrading, but it was those, 17 to 19 inchers, and you could just throw your crankbait back and your spinning rod and troll and hold it and just wham, wham.
That's when it's fun.
That's when it's fun. He was like, again, Drake's John Hurd was with him as co-angler, and he said, man, he goes, yeah, we sucked day 2. It didn't work out. I think still finished in 12th, but he's like, it was fun. We caught him, and it was fun, man. So,
no, for sure.
So you got Huron coming up next.
Yeah.
Right. Huron, then Dunkirk. How you feeling about Huron? We're going to a big Great Lake, clean water. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it can be a good fishery. I mean, I won a PWT championship on that system. I mean, obviously it was down in Saginaw Bay, a little bit different time of year. And I don't know why we don't go target that system when they are down in that lower bay. Cause Bay City is an awesome town. Yep. I've spent a lot of time there in my career, just strictly because I met my wife there and she's from there originally. So, but yeah, that's when the fishery's good. I mean, there's so much structure down there and shoreline structure and weeds and different things that it sucks when we have to go up to the north end of that system and out in that big water. And I mean, with no blow days built in,
that's a tough one.
We just seen what happened to the Michigan Walleye Trail. They had 2 days of blow days and they canceled the tournament. So, I mean, we could be going out there for a long ways and get 2 blow days, which would absolutely suck. And that could happen in the next 2 tournaments. And that's something they got to think about. I mean, to have that big a tournament going to that location and not have a blow day built in is absolutely ridiculous. In my opinion.
Yeah, it's I'm not going, and that's one of the reasons is that is not a fun, enjoyable practice body of water to be on. It does not take a 10-mile-an-hour wind to make that thing just uncomfortable.
Absolutely brutal. I mean,
Saginaw, we were there in 2018. Saginaw Bay, we went out of that.
Yeah.
Minus a 45-minute no wake thing. It was all right. I mean, granted, I think Kinger won it, traveling way up there, but you're right.
Yeah, you can fish in the river too. I mean, the river's phenomenal fishing. So that has nothing to do with it. I mean, like that system, granted it is along the wake zone getting out of there, but there's other launches closer to the mouth too. But Veterans Park up there, it's part of it. And the fishery was good. I mean, Kinger and those guys did run all the way up, but you don't have to. I mean, there was good fish down in the lower bay too.
Yeah, it was. I had a ball there.
As soon as you got that option, right? If it's rough, you won't have to. Up where we're going this week, I mean, it's go or stay home.
It's a long run south to get down out of it. So it's one thing when you start in it, you can stay there, but if you got to go 80 miles, no thanks.
Yeah, and I talked to some of the guys that were there at that Michigan Walleye Trail, and they said the fishing was good, but it's primarily down in the bay. So it'll be interesting to see, with this bit of warm weather that they've had, if those fish have transitioned finally out to that upper part of the bay or lake, and maybe they'll be closer to where they were. We won't have to run as far as we did last year.
And then but you can go north too. You have Superior, right? You can go up to the Sioux. I mean, you can go anywhere you can get. It's a massive, wide open how much gas do you want to spend type system.
And how much Mother Nature will allow you to run.
Right, which it's not in your favor for the most part on that system.
No, the next year is going to be interesting. There's no doubt about it. I mean, how many boats we have is going to be one thing, and how far we got to run and how rough it's going to be could be another thing. So, it is what it is. We're going to just go put our heads down and go fishing. That's one thing about that system. They're up in Alpena. There's not a lot of big fish. I mean, a big fish right now is like 6 pounds. I mean, if you get a 6 pounder, you're doing really good. So
that 3 to 5 pound.
Yeah. I think, a lot of that 3 to 5 pound stuff is what you're going to look for the tournament. So, last year when we were there for the championship, there was fish in the weeds. There was fish out deep.
No.
So it really spread the field out. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it should be interesting no matter what.
And Dunkirk,
July, and Alpena, Michigan.
Right. Then you're up to Dunkirk, and Canada is off limits. So,
and it's New York waters only. I mean, which is something unheard of when we've gone there. I mean,
right.
I get, the border thing. That's fine, whatever. But still, there's a lot of good water to the west.
Yep.
When we were there for that championship 3 years ago or whatever it was that John won, I was actually running to Pennsylvania, which wasn't a long run. It was 30 miles, so it wasn't a super long run. But guys did actually run to Ohio too. So,
all right.
It's. I mean, being confined to that. Going all the way out there and then being confined to that small of an area is going to make it interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty small area, actually, isn't it?
It's really not that big. I mean, you probably got 20 miles, 25 miles down to that Pennsylvania line, maybe a little less. And then I guess you could run all the way up to whatever that is to the east. But it's not a giant fishery. I mean, it really isn't. There's not a lot of structure in that stretch.
Right.
So it's a lot of basin fishing. The last time we were there, I was running dipsies and copper wire, trolling. Guys did catch them forward-facing sonar, but there's a good trolling bite. Typically out there, and you can go through numbers and kind of just upgrade throughout the day.
Deep though, right? You're fishing deep.
I mean, it's 80 to 100 foot most of that. Most of the fish I was targeting were 60 foot down, 50 to 60 foot down. So I was, running dipsies and 200 coppers, and that's where I was targeting those fish.
So for those of you listening in Dunkirk, New York, that's Lake Erie. This is the far eastern part of the basin, basically. And then New York's got a little slice of that pie.
Yeah.
Especially when you take off Canada, and then Mark says it's a little system, and it is when you break it down. And we've kind of are all about, hey, let's have some boundaries, but now you created the smallest boundary possible. But
100%. Like when we go to Erie in the spring, we can fish Ohio and you can fish Michigan. Well, that's a lot of water.
That's a ton of water.
That's all the way up to Detroit, and all the way. I mean, you can go to Cleveland. I mean, and you ran 50 miles. So, but when you confine us all to, roughly, I think Buffalo might be maybe 30 miles from, by water, 40 miles maybe from Dunkirk. So, and Erie's not the Erie it used to be. I mean, we're still going to catch nice fish, but a 6 pound average grade of fish is going to be really good that time of year.
Yep.
You might find a few bigger ones, obviously mixed in, but I think for the most part, you're looking at that 6 pound fish.
I think your average in was like 20, 22 pounds when that championship was there. It was fall or later.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was October, Mike.
October. So
but I'm just looking at like the rest of the tournaments on Erie right now. That's kind of the average is at 30. That's 30, good. A few good ones mixed in.
Yeah, I know the few guys that that it's a long drive for literally 98% of the field. But they said you caught a ton of fish. I mean, it's Erie. There's an absolute ton of fish.
I honestly, trolling, I had never got so many hooks in my hands just because you're handling 3 and 4 pounders, and you're trying to go through fish. So you're just hand grabbing them, and literally I'm getting stuck about every 4th fish.
You get exhausted from reeling them in that deep too. I mean, you're cranking it up. This isn't like hooking a set and grab the net. Yeah, I got a couple
Oh,
minutes.
yeah. And you want to take your time so you can
Right.
release them too. I mean, that's the other
Yep.
thing. They're coming that deep.
Crazy. I'm not gonna miss that. So this year.
No.
So
And you actually spend time with your family back home,
yep.
on the
Yep.
fly.
Yep, got to miss the ICAST Walleye Throwdown or the South Dakota Walleye Classic. That's when we're going to be on our family vacation up in the UP. But that tournament looks nothing short but just an absolute blast. The big fish tournament up on Lake Oahe. That if y'all missed it, the previous podcast has Chad Schilling breaking that down. Really good idea. You've been with Aafco for a while now, right, Mark?
Yeah, I've been with them, I don't know, probably 10 years now. So yeah, I've been with them a long time, and they're all about conservation, and they're all about, communities and doing well for, fisheries and things like that. So it's going to be fun to see what they can do with this and bring back the old Walleye Classic. It was down quite a bit. It's struggled here the last couple of years, and ICAST is such a neat community. I mean, the community revolves around fishing and hunting. And everybody out there is as friendly as they can be. And so I know Chad, I talked to Chad last week, and he's talking about throwing in a pontoon pot and doing some other things with guys that fish out of pontoons. So it'll be fun no matter what. I mean, they had a bunch of anglers. I think as of last week, there was like 120. And I think for a full payout for that 10 grand is 200 boats. So, or 200 anglers. So,
right.
And it's cheap. And I tell you what, you're going to go to one of the best big fisheries in the country right now, I believe. I mean, you got a chance of literally catching a state record every cast or every pole, whether you're trolling and a lot of those fish are coming trolling. So, whether you're a troller, whether you're a caster, whatever you want to do, you've got a great opportunity to catch a lot of big fish.
Yeah. And you can just, you can put half a dozen people on a pontoon and go scoping or slip bobbering or cranking and just start taking turns, grabbing rods. And I mean, you're going to get your entry fee of $200 back in in Aafco gear, which I'm sure it's a walleye throwdown shirt and a pair of shorts and a hat or something. But the Aafco gear is, I got some. I love the shorts. It's good stuff. I wear their Aafco gloves every day. So, and
I guarantee you, everybody there is going to have a blast, and it's going to be just a great community get together and setting. So,
you mentioned the Walleye Classic there is struggling. It seems kind of like we were talking about this, beforehand just a little bit, that all the tournament, if it's just walleye, you're doing the bass stuff too. Are they all struggling with numbers right now, or what do we think's going on here?
So many different things going on, right? I mean, there's 100 different tournaments that you can fish if you want to, and there's just nobody leading the pack on the walleye side. Everybody's leading it kind of wide open right now. AIM's getting good numbers. MTT's doing good. The Michigan Walleye Trail's doing really good. They have huge numbers every tournament, and it's a well-run deal. So there's just a lot of options for people, and a lot of people don't want to travel as far as, what we travel and put in the amount of time and put in the amount of days off, and I don't care whether it's me or, I whatever you want to call me, like, it's still time away, like, from my other job, like promoting, doing things for sponsors, all that. I'd be real happy if we'd go to a set practice of, maybe 4 days.
4 days.
And I think everybody'd be happy with that. Start on Saturday, fish Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, have an off day on Wednesday, and fish Thursday, Friday, and call her good.
Yep.
And championship, you could do the same, and just wouldn't be an off day. It'd be tournament day on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I just think the fisheries would fish a lot better. I think the competition would be better. I think you'd get a lot more guys that have full-time jobs, not in the industry, or don't own their own businesses that can afford to leave and go. I think you'd just get a lot more anglers to do it. And whether you go east or west, I mean, you could do like the old PWT did, do 3 east, 3 west, and the guys that wanted to, fish them all could fish them all and do it that way too. I mean, the amount of travel time, I mean, like Cody Northrup, I mean, he figured it out. It was going to be 90 hours in the vehicle this year, just travel time.
Yep.
The tournaments. I mean, that's just way too much when you talk about, time off. That's another whole 2 work weeks off of work, just in the vehicle.
Yeah, that's just getting there. That's not counting the fishing days. And I did the math too to go to Dunkirk and Huron. I'm like, that's going to cost a lot, way more, unless you finish in the top 5.
Yep.
You know, I don't get paid
100%.
vacation as a fishing guide, so
Yeah.
it's you're in the hole. And I'm like, that's just sometimes it doesn't make sense, but I mean, obviously we're not fishing them to, you know, to make a living off the winnings so much in the walleye world. A few guys are doing well enough, but it's, you know, we fish tournaments because we're passionate about it. We love it. We love to compete. And obviously when you can at least break even or bring home some money, that softens that blow considerably and makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know, for sure. For spouses.
Whether you're getting paid or not to fish, I mean, that check at the end of the tournament's a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure is. It
makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I'm sure your wife and my wife definitely appreciate it when you come home with it. So
absolutely,
you know, because it's a grind out there. It is. You know, they don't get to see everything. You know, from the outside looking in, and it's work. I mean, you're out there early, you're out there late. It's long days. You know, and you're doing stuff out there. Yeah,
stuff. Yep. Thinking about stuff.
And you're
getting to dinner, and you're getting back home.
You're squeezing in those sponsorship obligations, trying to catch some photos or content on the water, or maybe you're got a sponsor in the boat for a pre-fish day. There's just so much going on.
There's a lot more to it than people understand.
Yeah, my wife overheard some people at the NTC talking about, and they were just spectators sitting there watching the weigh-in in the 105-degree heat. So there wasn't a whole lot of them. It was nothing like when we were there before. But the stuff they were saying, she was polite enough. She didn't interfere. If they would have asked her, she would have definitely educated them a little bit. But they were like, I think these guys should just, you know, they should just take some of these people out in their boat and compete. Just a random guy each day, you know, like they think we're just out there fishing for fun, and these people didn't qualify the previous year to get there.
Basically what we're doing.
It is in a sense, you're right. But it was like some, you know, very elderly type folks are like, well, they should, you know, we should just get to go with them for the day. That's what they should win or something. And it was, I don't know. She was just like, it blew her mind. But I'm like, well, they don't know, you know, they're not in the
absolutely
into this. But you are right with the co-angler situation. That is what we're doing. And after spending a tournament scoping, them guys in the back of the boat while the pros are up on these scoping tournaments now, I feel sorry for them. That it kind of sucks. So fortunately, Pier, Lake Sharp, and La Crosse got, you know, in the way that La Crosse system and the party fishing. I mean, the co-anglers all had, you know, you had to catch fish. Your co-angler has to catch fish.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, no, and that's, you know, that's and I don't mind that. I honestly think it's a good thing, because those guys want to learn, you know, and whether you bring them up in the front of the boat and teach them how to use forward-facing sonar, or whether you figure out another method so they can catch fish, it's all good. You know what I mean? So yeah, I enjoy those, and I don't mind slot tournaments, honestly.
Yep.
Slot tournaments is what the average angler has to deal with wherever we go fishing. And so it's not a bad deal. No,
that makes it, I mean, it adds another element to it, right? And it's 100%. The whole, walleye fish has always been the mind game of what do I keep? What do I throw back? It's gambling. Tournament fishing is gambling as it is, but you know, it's taking a risk. And guys like me who said, I'm going to this pool where I can only keep these. You're 100% throwing it all out there. Or when you're throwing back your 3-pounder, you know, your Lake or in Lake Sharp, and you got a Grant, you kind of know over there, you were keeping it. I'm pretty sure, you know, but if it was fishing a little better, you might have been like, do I keep this? You know, that's the difference between I'm going for it all. And then now the local guys that aren't going for points or something like that, they all have that upper hand because they can do that. You know, they're going for it all. They're tossing them out.
10%. And, you know, I mean, whether it's a local curse or whatever it is, I don't mind the locals being there. I mean,
all right,
like that's been a part of our sport forever. But if we could get rid of it, it'd be great. Like everybody that's fishing, you know, would just fish.
Yeah, we're having to fish a little more conservative, just having to do different. Hey, Biggie, you know, different things. we got to fish differently, and if you're going for points and to make the championship and all that, and you know, versus a guy that's just throwing it all, you know, just swinging. You know, going out swinging, and I don't blame them, and I don't mind the locals either. We need the numbers, so you need them. But then again, it's like, wow, we're competing against a different pool of anglers here. You know, and they're taking a pot away from the guys that are trying to make a living on it. So that kind of sucks, but it's just a whole balancing game. And I don't foresee that changing or anything anytime soon.
The only way it's going to change if we go back to, you know, just you have to enter all 3 tournaments or all 4 tournaments to play, and our numbers are what our numbers are, and
Yep.
they got to figure it out. I mean, whether you make the schedule east and west so guys don't have to travel and you get enough guys to do that, which I think you probably would. They haven't entertained it, and I don't know if they will entertain that aspect of it. But back in the day, I mean, at 125, we still had a waiting list. I mean, you had to wait to get into the PWT back then.
Yep. Yeah, I know we had that was thrown out, and there was a little discussion around it. It didn't go very far.
No. And that's the problem we run into, right? I mean, for some reason, what we're facing right now, they don't want any input, and they're just going to run it the way they are. And that's what we're dealt with right now. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, it's the game in town, and like I said, but AIM's got some new stuff coming up, and hopefully soon we're going to get Brett and Kent on here to discuss some of that new circuit. But you do a lot of the bass stuff. Are we seeing the same thing in the bass world as we are in the walleye world with numbers or just participation?
No, I mean, like the Minnesota tournament or the Champions Tour, which I fished, that was a full field of 65. Had a great payout. A new boat at the end of the year. They filled up. They're actually going to cut their numbers back to make it more difficult to get in, and then they're going to open up a qualifier to get back into the tours. So
that's great.
Yeah, they're going to go down to a 50 boat field, and they're excited about it. I mean, they do a great job with social media. The platform that they're on, they do a big video at the end to kind of recap the whole day. They get the youth involved, being marshals in the boat. So it's a really good program.
Yep.
And it's one that my buddy Scott Bonema built and really got going, and he just sold it last year to Dane Vizelka, a guy from Minneapolis that's just a go-getter, and Dane does a great job, and there's no doubt Dane's going to carry on the torch and do good things with it. So no, they're doing a great job with it. And it's unfortunate that we had some opportunities back in the day. Scott tried to do a walleye one, and it just didn't take off. But no, there's only one game in town right now for us at the level we're at that really is available. I mean, to fish a national level tournament, the MWC, it's another option, but it's a team circuit. It's not a national circuit. They got about the same amount of exposure, though, that we got, honestly, minus what the great job that Robert Cardenas has done to keep this thing alive. Honestly, Robert's carried the torch, and that's what's kept this thing alive.
It's the saving grace, isn't it?
It is. I mean, honestly, it is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in these next couple tournaments and see the direction that we had here going into next year. Yeah,
they're going to have to make some. I mean, the anglers speak by not showing up.
100%. So
you got to make adjustments or you don't. And
the unfortunate thing is right now with the amount of anglers we got that are willing to travel, there's a handful. There's probably 12 Eastern guys this year, maybe 15 that are doing it. So that's a pretty good number for out east that we haven't seen that type of number, but we lost a lot of anglers from the West, North Dakota, South Dakota that normally would do it. And it's just, and that's why I keep saying 3 East, 3 West, and the guys that want to fish them all, go fish them all. I mean, I honestly think that's the best answer to it.
You take your best 4 or whatever for points or best 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah. So like the guy, like PWT, what we did is X amount came out of the top guys that fished all 6 events.
Mm-hmm.
There was a good portion of that, whether it was 40 or whatever it was. And then we took 10 and 10, I think, from both East and West, to make the championship, which 50 boat championship or whatever you want to make it, doesn't matter. But it gives the guys an opportunity to fish, 3 tournaments for sure at a national level with big money. And it just, they don't have to travel near as far. It's in their backyards for the most part. I mean, if you go East and West.
Right. And we're very saturated with so many tournament circuits out there now that Casino Cups. I always told Northrop, they're like, you don't need to leave North Dakota, man. You got enough. We got the big, my next tournament's the Big Ten Showdown, and that's not till into September, October. And these are, we filled that to 100 boats. It's 30,000.
Yep.
Top 10 payout, and then you have day money and you get to big fish. You get in all the side stuff. You're a skeeter guy, we have contingency programs. I mean, there's some, that's money shouldn't be leaving on the table. So I hope these directors are signing up for all this work because it's a 5-minute, registration process, even for the angler. And you're
Well,
talking,
that's the problem. I mean, a lot of these directors aren't paying attention to that. And whether you like it or not, I mean, unfortunately, that's part of the game. I mean, I don't care whether you're sponsored by a certain boat brand or not. Good for you. I mean, that's awesome. But the tournaments associations, whether they're sponsored by another boat company or not, should still recognize that their consumer is maybe sponsored by a different boat company, and there's opportunity for contingencies. Let them have those contingencies.
Yeah, Kurt, I don't know if you're listening. The Cedar Shore tournament needs to have big boat contingencies in there. The Gov Cup has it. You continue to fill it out.
I didn't say you did.
I did. I didn't even realize it before. And Big Ten, he's got it. Jeff's got it all down now, and I'll do the paperwork for you, Kurt. We'll get it done because I don't want to miss out on that Nitro, the Ranger Cup, Nitro.
It's not a big deal.
Not at all.
For them to sign up for it. All they got to do is contact a person and get signed up for it, and give their anglers the opportunity to win a lot more money.
Right.
And that's why, I mean, that's going to increase your purse by tenfolds.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're talking. These are. Most of them are looking at. They got to be at least a 60 boat field, and a lot of these are 100 boats.
Yeah.
Cedar Shores, and a lot of these are 100, and you're meeting the qualifications. So that's it. Let's just fill this out and give these people the opportunity. And even if you don't win it, there's still $500 or even down to just gift cards for the club. So I was going to do it for our club, but we don't have enough boats in it. But it's still hey, if it's a gift card, it's a gift card.
There's like a Wednesday night or Tuesday nighter up in that northeast South Dakota area that they all get Ranger Cup. I mean, there's 60, 70 boats in every one of those, and that's a big deal.
Yep.
The fishing crew does a great job. They have great locations. I mean, there is a lot of options for tournaments for guys that don't want to travel. It's just, and I mean, so what are you gaining going to the national level? Really nothing, minus the little bit of 15-minute TV,
right,
when you really cut it down.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not doing any justice to learning, teaching.
No.
I mean, if I look back at the fishing industry, and I mean, I did a podcast with In Fisherman where I started, what Lenders did back in the day with InFish, whether it was print media, which I get that's not the thing anymore, but you could still do social content. You can still do, via email type content. But they taught the anglers what the anglers were doing.
Yep.
And whether we look at bass right now, whether we look at MLF, all these different circuits and what's going on with forward facing sonar, everybody is just jonesing for forward facing sonar information. And Tom Wynn's the one leading the charge. I mean, Tom Wynn is doing a phenomenal job at what he's doing with Tom Wynn University. I mean, the kid's brilliant when he did what he's doing. I mean, teaching people how to use forward-facing sonar is absolutely brilliant because the average consumer does not know how to use it. They get it. 90% of the anglers have the opportunity to get it, and they want to learn it. So once you get it, fish just don't jump in your boat because you have forward-facing.
People sure think they do, though, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Everybody thinks that. Well, let me just tell you. I mean, whether you look at Bass or whether you look at National Walleye Tour, okay, prime example, these first two tournaments. You look at guys that have led the charge the last couple of years, where are they? They aren't right at the top right now, and there's a reason for that, because you actually had to fish both of those last two tournaments. I mean, you actually, forward-facing sonar still came into play, and you could still see fish and locate fish and see how fish were relating to certain structures, but you still had to fish. I mean, you still had to just put your mind down and cast or throw something up to a wing dam or whatever you were doing, or troll. Same with pier.
Yep.
Yeah, you could, if you wanted to run down south, you could use your forward-facing sonar and catch fish. Problem was they weighed about a pound less each fish.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the balance that we need, right? I think you're seeing that in bass, and I think you're seeing that in walleye. I mean, that's the type of balance you need. If you just go to a bunch of, clear bodies of water or reservoirs and don't add in rivers or different situations, it is going to turn into 100%. But if it does that, then you got to promote that and teach people how to use that.
Right.
So whether it's keep an angler around an extra day and sitting there with Robert and just doing a bunch of videos on what he was doing, where he was doing them, why he chose that spot, whatever it is, that's what the anglers, or that's what the general public wants to see. And that's what I struggle with. I mean, yeah, we can all sit there and watch anglers go across stage, big deal, whatever.
Exactly.
It's the most boringest thing ever to watch.
Yep.
But until you jump in the boat and say, okay, what lure are you using? What bait are you using?
And why?
How are you rigging your plastics? How are you rigging your live bait? You know, what are you casting at? What depths are you looking for?
And I know they haven't, because it would have been in my boat, and I've gone over all that.
100%.
You know, and I sat there and tied a knot and said, hey, here, look, you know, a long time ago before I was here, I was using Berkeley. I'm like, Berkeley's your sponsor. Here, I'm using this. This is why I'm tying a fluorocarbon to, you know, braid leader. Yep. I'm like, want some B-roll? Here you go. You know,
and that's the type of stuff that I don't care if you do an extra show. I don't care if you do, you know, a social media clip, but that's what anglers want to know. I mean, that's what the consumer wants to know. If you're just going to put guys across stage and listen to an announcer, you've lost it. Mm-hmm. You've lost your audience.
Somebody sent me an old RCL clip yesterday. It was old. It was Red Wing, and I don't even remember. I only knew recognize one of the top 5 names. It was old, but it had Glover or Mike in it. Man, who else? Just
Doc Sampson.
Doc was in it. I think
he probably won that one.
He could. I didn't get to watch it all, but it had 3 announcers, you know, breaking it down and all the interviews. I mean, it wasn't a commercial. It was a Rick and Fish show. It had commercials, but it wasn't nothing like you're seeing now. But they were exactly everything you're talking about is they were breaking it down. You know, this is the fish are in a funk, blah, blah. I was only taking whatever, 10, 11 pounds, but then a guy comes in at 22 pounds and whatever the case was. But, you know, they broke it down. They're on the water with them. It's all old school, obviously. This is in probably, I don't even know, 80s or 90s. So,
yeah, 90s.
Yeah, probably early 90s. Yeah, it was
2000s, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 2000. You're right.
4?
Yeah, 4 or 8 or something, 4 or 5. Yeah. It was early 2000s. It was at a pool 3 and 4, and I'm like, this is great. This is old and horrible cameras and what have you. I mean, great for the time, or probably mediocre for the time. But I'm like, this is better than stuff being produced nowadays, just because it was so much more educational and you're in the boat with them. And
the reason being is Linders produced all that.
Right.
I mean, they did it all from the start of the PWT to the FLW. They were the film crew that did it and edited it and everything, and they just understood fishing, right? I mean, and that's what it takes. And that's the sad thing about our sport right now. And that's why it's so hard to get sponsors in the industry to get a hold of and grasp what we're trying to do. I mean, we can all put out social media clips, but that one TV clip or that one social clip that how the guy won is going to gain so much more traction than anything, just because you got so many more viewers. I mean, so that's the struggle I deal with day in and day out. And I mean, I've tried and I've screamed and I've hollered, but nobody wants to listen. So it is what it is. I mean, we're just all done trying to holler. I mean, it does us no good.
I know. You scream loud. I scream loud. Chemo screams loud. We might be the 3 loudest. It's like you're banging your head on a wall. But
it's just like you're talking to a brick wall.
Yep.
And I mean, there's a lot of great fishermen out there right now. I mean, I don't care who you want to pick. I mean, Max Wilson's on fire. The kid's genius with forward-facing sonar. Well, get in his boat and figure it out. Teach people. That's what they want to know. Tom Wynn's great with forward-facing sonar. Teach people. I mean, that whole young group is really good with it. Teach people. That's what they want to know. I mean, I'd watch it. And that's the sad truth that, I mean, everybody's jonesing for the information. We just want to see, I mean, you got the Will Pappenfuses. I mean, you got a lot of guys that Jake Hoggy. I mean, those guys are just straight hammers wherever they go. It doesn't matter. I mean, Jake literally left the NTC, drove through the tornado, North Dakota, and got to Skakawea and won the tournament the next day with no pre-fish.
Yep.
I mean, so I mean, there's something to it, right? And that's what the general public wants to know.
Yeah. What are you looking at? How are you picking out what to throw at? I mean, that's exactly how we fished the NTC was.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing at those because they're not big enough. I'm not wasting a cast.
And I mean, Heiser's doing his thing now, which is awesome with his own show. And I mean, you got a lot of these guys doing that, and that's great. But I mean, that's coming out of their pockets. And
yeah, and it ain't cheap.
No, it's not cheap at all. I mean, you're producing a TV show. I mean, that's literally what it is. And it's $5 to $6 grand to do each and every one of those. And that's just to get it. I mean, that's just to get a film crew there, not to produce it.
And that's on the low side, depending on your quality of film crew. So that could be the cost of one cameraman for one day. Yeah, it is not cheap. And it's everybody wants to see all this live stream stuff. I'm like, I got a ton of footage from our NTC thing, but I'm like, it's going to take me hours. It's about an hour per 3 minutes of footage editing time.
Yeah.
I think is what you can figure. Depending on the quality of it, you can just throw some stuff in there and put some background music and let it roll. But it's just you catching fish.
Forget what myself and Jason Shkurt and Scott Stiles went on the water live, and we actually streamed live. And that was that was before any of this even started. And I mean, we were literally doing it with laptops in our boats. And I mean, it was absolutely crazy the amount of work we had to do to get that to work. But I mean, we tried to make it fly for a year, and it's just, I mean, with cell service and dumping cell service and losing cell service, it was just a pain in the butt.
It's a huge pain in the butt. Way too much taken away from your fishing and your focus. And I mean, now you can have it set up if you got the Starlink, which you still got to pay your monthly. And I mean, you're still a lot of money, into it. Yep. That's about all you can depend on now is running the Starlink system. And then you got to mount that somewhere in your boat. And then, I mean, you can just run it from your phone, but you're going to drop signal, and then having the mounts and brackets so things ain't falling in the lake. It's just, if you have it all set up, you could just hit a button and let it go, but it's not that easy. It's easy when somebody else runs it and you could just fish.
And you actually need somebody back watching it all and kind of conducting it and putting it out there. I mean, ultimately, Chris Aldane's doing that on the elites, and I mean, Trait's back at home running the board and trying to make sure everything's working right and trying to keep it all going. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it, and it's just, I mean, it depends on how deep you want to get into it. Yeah,
you can't fish that level and then try to be a producer at the same time. You're just something's going to give, and you're going to.
There's some really dumb rules that I don't understand in our deal. Like if you drop signal, why you can't reboot it and keep going? Like I don't understand that.
Right. So I'm just helping promote this circuit. I'm just helping people want to be part of this and see it and viewership. All this is doing is good.
Yep.
But if I lose it, I got to just be done. So
100%.
Yeah. It's some things we'll never know, right?
No.
Some things we will never know, Mark. It's out of our control. Like I said, we definitely are the ones that bang our heads against the wall a lot. So, all right, it's a lot of stuff to digest, folks. Mark, we've been on here for a while. Good insight, great stuff. Good luck coming up in Erie. I wish you the best of luck up there in light winds, very light and variable. I hope it doesn't even say 5 to 10. I hope it says light and variable. So
it's really nice.
That would be. It'll make it so much more fun, no matter the outcome.
We've got 2 weeks on the Great Lakes. I'm guaranteeing that I'm not going to see that every day.
No, if you could at least get that on tournament days and at least one practice day, then
take it.
You'll take it. Things will work out. And we had that at Saginaw Bay. I remember the practice week sucked, but the tournament days were actually pretty nice.
Really nice.
Depending on how far you went, but
yeah. And I mean, yeah, you can get nice days. There's no doubt about it. But when you don't have any options besides the big water, you're pretty much screwed.
And that changes how you fish. Like Green Bay.
The next 2 tournaments, the next 3 tournaments, we actually have
good
water at every one of them.
Yeah, Green Bay. Because we had that and that Memorial Day on there, Green Bay, when you were like, it's a one-day deal. I said, I'm going river and jigging up my limit of fish, and trolling motor broke because I crashed some big waves. And like, whatever, that's points. I just needed points. And half the field didn't make it to the championship because they zeroed.
Yeah.
So my 8 pounds was good enough for like a 48th or something like that. But I'm like,
absolutely.
Got the championship. Yeah, got in. Last boat out, first boat in. So, and broke the hell. But the best thing was that Ultrex is tough as nails, man. That thing was in pieces because I didn't have it stowed properly and didn't know any better. And I just took some of the pins that were laying on the deck and stuck them back in there, and spot lock held me in the river, and I jigged up 6 fish and went and weighed in. And I'm like, that's it. These things, this motor's freaking solid. Absolutely love that thing. Well, you want to leave our listeners with some insight, some little nugget to help them in their angling journey, whether they're just a weekend warrior or venturing down the tournament pro angler.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything more than time on the water. I mean, honestly, the best thing you can do is put time on the water. Honestly, trust your electronics. I mean, your electronics are as good as they get now.
Yeah, that's true.
There's absolutely no reason to not trust them. If you aren't marking fish, get out of there. I don't care if you have forward-facing sonar. I don't care what. If you just have 2D, if you just have down imaging, or if you have side imaging, trust your electronics and just understand your electronics. Trust your Lake Master chip. Do a little research before you go to new bodies of water. I mean, it's the simple things that go a long ways. And, there's no better information than, the local bait stores and what's happening if you're going on a vacation. And just kind of dial it in once you get there. I mean, that's the cool thing about Lake Master chip, things like that. I mean, if I'm catching them in 15 to 18 foot of water, I can highlight that in any color I want, and I can see it all the way around the lake, and I can pretty much tell where those fish are going to be. And whether you're on a Missouri River or the Mississippi River or, any standard body, inland body of water. I mean, that's the type of things that go a long way, where you can actually see other locations that look like where you're catching them. Play the wind, obviously, all the time with walleyes. I mean, they're typically relating to wind and bait getting blown into certain areas. But, electronics is definitely, and you don't have to spend that much. I mean, you can go out and buy an Explorer right now and not spend a lot of money and have some phenomenal electronics. So,
that is spot on. So many people don't realize that, highlight that depth, that all of a sudden there's new spots that pop out that you've been driving right by. And
absolutely.
There's a hump in the middle lake you didn't know about, and I guarantee you there's fish on it.
Yep. That's it. I mean, and whether you're catching them on a point or whether you're catching them on a flat, whatever, they all show up, and it's right in front of your eyes if you color code things. And so utilize that to your advantage.
I had some clients in the boat the other day, and I got 2 Explorers on the dash because I love my bird side image, and the mapping. You got to have the bird if you live in South Dakota, you're crazy without it, I think.
Yep.
But I have 6 to 8 foot highlighted, 1 to 3 foot, right? So I'm not going to run into all my sandbars. And so my map's all colorful versus just guy turn it on, and the guy's like, "What was it? We got to get one of these." And this kid is like, "We have one of those, He's like, "Well, it doesn't look like that." I'm like, "Well, you got to set all this up, man. You got to turn on and this." And then I found a little feature with my side imaging where I can set that little gauge out there or whatever, so I can kind of be like, "Oh, that's what you're looking at." Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, I'm hidden," so I can go. So you're not running over those fish on the point or something, right? You can kind of just drive your boat right around it, and that. All right, that's 90 feet is right here. And 90 feet, if you've been on forward-facing sonar, folks, 60, 70, 80, 90 feet is like that. It's not very far. It's a pretty easy cast. When you're whipping it, that's a 100-foot cast.
Yep.
So, super cool features, and 100%. Master electronics, you become a master angler. It's pretty simple.
And the only way you can do that, honestly, and I tell people this all the time, is leave your rods at home.
Yep.
Just go out fishing one day and leave your rods at home and just mess with your electronics. I mean, whether you're on the windy side of the lake or the calm side of the lake, you're going to have to adjust your sensitivity. But other than that, these units are coming out of the factory as good as they get. And the only thing you have to adjust is your sensitivity. And that's due to just water clarity. I mean, if you got some algae bloom or if you got, whatever, muddy water, you're going to have to adjust your sensitivity to see the fish in that clutter. But other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, they have come a long ways, and I've said the same thing dozens of times. Just leave those, as hard as it is, leave those rods in the truck or at home and go find a piece of structure and drive around it. Drive down the dam so you start to understand what it is you're looking at. Drive around some stumps.
Yeah, you see rocks, you see stumps, you see fish, and you're like, oh, that's what fish look like. Especially in sand is where you can really locate fish and understand what they look like on side imaging. And then you just take that to the next level and look at them in mud or look at them in sand, or, rock or whatever. But you can understand what they look like.
Yeah, those sand return to shadows I think the light bulb goes off when people see that. They're like, oh, there they are. Yeah. Like, turn around and start throwing a jig, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're there.
They're there. That is a pack of walleyes ready to eat. You can get them. So, All right, good stuff, Mark. You going to ICAST or
I am not going to
you're not
ICAST.
going to go? Good.
No, I'm going to take it off this year and got a lot of things going. Once we get back from Michigan, then we're going to get a couple things done and then head out to Casca.
Yeah, Casca. Man, I'm bummed I'm missing that, but it's all right. Family vacation. I got just the kid's got a couple years left at the home, so we're gonna go spend some time with her and take her to some new fun places. And
we'll see some cool stuff up in the UP.
Yep, and I think we'll go to Casca before that, just for a day or two, and maybe shoot some video up there with some forward-facing sonar. Maybe I can get Bo in the boat and show me how it's done. So, boy's a freaking hammer. He's going to be one of those young guns showing us all a thing or two. He already has, so he's just going to do it on the big levels.
Yeah, well, I actually got the chance to fish with him down at Sharp, and he's next level already on that stuff. I mean, that's all the kid does. I mean, and they do it well. I mean,
he's at a place where he gets to. I mean, it's the perfect place to educate yourself because you got a lot of targets out there, but you got these big fish. So he's identifying
multiple species. I mean,
right? He's everything.
You're seeing catfish, you're seeing walleyes, you're seeing big walleyes, you're seeing little walleyes, and
ton of bass.
They utilize it year round. You know, whether it's winter or summer, they're constantly on it. And he's just a great stick and a great kid to be around. I've guided with him numerous years. He's just a really good person. So Bo's a good kid.
Yep. Comes from good stock. So no surprise. No surprise there. No surprise there at all. All right, Mr. Courts, thank you for your time, and thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits, and stay safe, and we'll see you on the water.